As I mentioned, 2 days to go here in Queensland until that state election. Lots of people have already voted. The expectation is, after early voting wraps up tomorrow, that a good chunk, maybe even half, of all people may well have voted early. Now, last night, of course, Queensland was very focused on what we had to say, and thank you to the huge reaction that we've had to my comments at the start of the show about why Queensland matters as much to me as it does. I don't say that as a pander to Queensland, as I say it, as I explained last night, about why I love the place, because it's the place that I, when I'm not at home, most choose to be in Australia. It is a place that deserves better than its current government. But we'll all find out in the next couple of days whether or not there is about to be a change of government. And if I sound slightly wobblier compared to guaranteed, absolute, the sun will rise tomorrow and the government will change on Saturday, well, I'll get to why you should always be sceptical of what could be a 50-50 result. For his part, the potential future Premier and current opposition leader, David Crucifulli, out and about today, trying to keep the focus hard and fast on law and order issues. In this state, the Palaszczuk government, at the same time as they were claiming to tighten up a whole collection of laws, as you know, changed a whole bunch of other laws that mean possession of drugs is not automatically a crime. As I said at the time, this was overtly done because when about a certain percentage of the whole youth crime was possession of drugs, if you suddenly say it's not a crime anymore, magically the numbers start to fall. And funnily enough, Stephen Miles is using that exact argument about youth crime and crime overall that is falling. In part, that is because of what was a crime, drug possession, in this state currently is considered not to be. There's a whole collection of diversionary programs. David Crucifulli says, no, we go back to the way that it used to be, which is if you're caught with drugs, regardless of how much, there will be a problem for you in Queensland.
We don't believe a soft on drugs approach works. But I don't believe rolling out the welcome mat to drugs and saying that drugs are acceptable here and not here, I just don't believe that's the right way.
For his part, the potential and hopefully outgoing Premier, Stephen Miles, is doing what he's done all campaign, which is a stunt that the media will like. A headline that produces things like the Premier to visit 36 states in 36 hours and, geez, isn't he working really hard and he wants it more than everybody else. Of course, it's a last-ditched effort to make the most out of his taxpayer-funded travel, which, remember, this bloke, during this election campaign, used a taxpayer-funded jet to fly 10 minutes so he could go to a birthday party for one of his own MPs. This is the same bloke who took his own private jet to North Queensland while the police commissioner took his private jet. You couldn't possibly get on the same two private jets. These people, other people's money, they've had their snout in the trough for too long. I desperately hope there's going to be a change. There was some other silliness that took place today, including a deputy leaders debate where the deputy leader of the LNP didn't turn up. So Cameron Dick, of course, had the opportunity to pretend that he could debate a person who wasn't there. This is part of it that played out here at the Courier Mail today.
We're going through one of the biggest growth periods in our state's history. Now, we always pay our debts in Queensland. You know, we issue our bonds 3, 5, 10, 30 years. We always pay them. And Queensland never retires. So we will always be able to service our debts.
Well, the Deputy LNP leader wasn't there, but will be here on this program tonight. I'll ask him some of the questions that clearly weren't able to be asked then and why he didn't turn up at that debate. We'll get to that a little bit later tonight.